Hello, my name is Marco Wolf. I'm one of the managing directors of woresan and responsible for R&D. Thank you for your interest in this training session. I'm pleased that you have joined me. In this video, I would like to show you how you can use fermented ingredients from our company for a variety of trends, unique new concepts, innovative ideas, or simply revive dormant products. To do so, it is important to understand everything that fermented ingredients have to offer and how you can benefit from them. But importantly, also what differences there are between fermented ingredients. Because the range of ferments is very broad these days and not every one of them really deserves to be called a ferment. But first and foremost, I would like to convey to you in a clear and understandable way how and why woresan ingredients work the way they do. This training session will last about 20 minutes. You will discover 6 benefits which you can put into practice straight after the training to make your cosmetic brand stand out from the competitors. In the first 2 minutes, I will give you some brief background information about me and the woresan. Then I will tell you about the mechanisms of action of woresan ingredients and how cosmetic brands benefit from it. Finally, I would like to show the possibilities offered to you by woresan active ingredients on the basis of branded products. woresan is an owner-managed family firm based in Isernhagen near Hanover and specializes in the research, development and sale of long-term ferments from organic flour, plant substrates and seeds. We also started small, and at the beginning we had many stages of the process produced by contract manufacturers. Since 2020, we have integrated all of the stages of the process into the woresan production line. Over the past few years, woresan has transformed itself into a global company. Our products are manufactured using patented organic ecosystemic fermentation technology and meet the highest environmental standards. Sustainability and ecological aspects are just as important to us as investment into new technologies, especially the very latest system technology. By integrating natural processes into technical systems, woresan's ecosystemic fermentation is capable of producing highly effective, safe and innovative active ingredients for skincare. We only use organic raw materials which are supplied by regional companies to keep the ecological footprint of our products as small as possible. All woresan ferments are naturally GMO-free, cruelty-free and vegan. Production is ISO 9001, Cosmos and NA certified. Enough about us. This video is intended to focus on the ferments and the fermentation process, the unique mechanisms of action of ferments and their versatile areas of use. Why are ferments so sought after in the cosmetic industry? The organic cosmetic sector is currently experiencing a boom, the like which has never seen before. Consumers are increasingly questioning the ingredients in each cosmetic product. The desire for natural active ingredients is constantly increasing. This is backed up by various tests which can often be viewed in the internet by anyone. These days, any customer can quickly find out for themselves about the ingredients used, so it's only logical that it is natural active ingredients that are being favored. Consumers increasingly want products that are not only natural origin, but are also sustainably produced and processed. But we are under no illusion. At the end of the day, customers want products that are not only highly effective in spite of this, but also because of this. So it's no wonder then that ferments in particular have grown immensely in popularity. In the following section, I would like to explain why particularly high quality fermented ingredients not only fulfill all of these customer requirements, but exceed them many times over. It is essential to accept the skin as its own autonomous ecosystem in order to understand the mechanism of action of woresan products. Like any ecosystem, the skin also has to deal with a large number of influences to its various sub-areas. Every ecosystem consists of inanimate, abiotic and animated, biotic elements. The biotic ones are the numerous microorganisms that colonize the surface of the skin. At the same time, the composition of different microorganisms varies greatly, not only with respect to the different regions of the body, but also from person to person. Everything affects the abiotic components of the skin, and therefore indirectly also the biotic ones. Ecological systems of any size are characterized by countless interrelations and mutual dependencies. Often, apparently insignificant, interventions in the small sub-areas lead to vast changes in the whole system. I would like to illustrate this more vividly using the example of the Yosemite National Park. After the Yosemite National Park was established, an inventory of the flora and fauna was carried out. When they repeated this in the 1980s, the structure of the park had changed dramatically. While all of the living things, apart from one, were still there, their quantitative composition had changed drastically. What was even more surprising, however, was that the abiotic components had changed at least as much. Some lakes and wetlands were totally absent. The composition of the tree population had changed greatly. Even the course of some rivers had changed significantly. They established that only one animal was no longer present: the wolf. The last wolf had died at the end of the 19th century, and as a result the moose had become more widespread and were eating the new shoots of the trees. One thing led to another. When two recently reintroduced wolf packs had brought the moose population back to balance, there were more trees for the beavers again. The beavers were able to build dams again. Consequently, new wetlands formed and the rivers took other courses. The insects liked this, and on the one hand they were the basic food resource of birds and other small animals, and on the other they also had a huge effect on the entire ecosystem as pollinators. It has been possible to observe similar effects of sharks, tigers and bees on their respective ecological systems. Wherever the environmental conditions change to the disadvantage of species that are relevant to the system, the balance of the entire system is quickly disturbed. The approach to the effectiveness of woresan products aims to create or maintain environmental conditions which are beneficial to the system-relevant microorganisms of the skin. But which are they? We have absolutely no idea. Every human being has countless unique skin microbiomes of their own, which, in healthy people, are ideally adapted to the particular section of the skin and the living conditions. This is primarily due to every person having their own unique environmental conditions. Finding everyone's right wolf to be able to reintroduce it would be rather difficult and would certainly not be marketable, as cosmetics would have to be mixed specially for every consumer separately. Probiotics are live microorganisms that have health benefits when applied to the body. Thus, a purely probiotic approach, in which the skin is inoculated with an ideal mixture of individual microorganisms, makes little to no sense in our view. The prebiotic approach is already much more promising in this respect, although this also only tackles one sub-area of the skin's ecosystem, the skin's microbiome. In principle, the postbiotic and parabiotic approach appears to be the most promising approach to have a regulatory, stabilizing and diversifying effect. To further increase the diversity, in particular, because one fundamentally recognized aspect of ecosystems is that the more diverse and complex an ecosystem is, the more stable, resistant and adaptable it is too. Woresan has developed a fermentation method that combines these four approaches and has taken the postbiotic and parabiotic area in particular to the next level of development. Classic fermentation technologies are limited to the use of single microorganisms. They conduct short-term fermentation as well. Our technology is based on the use of complex, diverse culture systems. They don't just produce primary metabolites in a programmed long-term fermentation process, but also the secondary metabolites that are so valuable. However, this requires the interaction between the different microorganisms, which form a functioning, balanced microbial ecosystem. Only when the primary sources of nutrition run short is there a need for an interaction. An interaction between different microorganisms can have different manifestations. This means that classic competition for the same food can exist. The organisms fight each other directly, but it can also happen that one organism supports a third organism, which in turn fights its direct competitors. Likewise, there also can be cooperative relationships where, for example, two microorganisms feed off each other's metabolites. In a complex microbial ecosystem, every microorganism has many different interrelationships with various other microorganisms. For this purpose, the various microorganisms form various metabolites, which fulfill diverse roles to maintain the system. The more complex the whole system is with regard to various organisms and corresponding interrelationships, the more extensive the pool of different metabolites. The more complex such ecosystems are, the more stable and resistant these systems become to external influences. Provided these influences stay within the normal boundaries, the composition of the ecosystem hardly changes, if at all. Only when the living conditions of the system change drastically, with a permanent severity, do they adapt, or the balance is totally disturbed. These permanently altered environmental effects can be triggered by a huge variety of circumstances. The best known examples here are hormonal changes, occurring during the life cycle, in the female monthly cycle, or as a result of medication. Furthermore, a course of hormonal fluctuations and changes can also be seen in the general aging process. Moreover, diet can also bring about hormonal changes. But hormonally active substances can also be found in plastics and cosmetics. Last but not least, influences such as smoking, alcohol, environmental toxins and stress also need to be mentioned, as they potentially have a negative impact on the environmental conditions of the skin. The visible and perceptible reactions of the skin are about as diverse as the causes, whether it is dryness, conification, altered elasticity, greasiness, chopping, redness, or spots, to name just a few. Consequently, woresan doesn't just use single microorganisms for its patented ecosystemic fermentation, but rather uses its starter that it has been cultivating for decades. This starter is characterized by its complexity and the diversity of the microorganisms concerned. In practice, a fully mature, complex and therefore extremely stable ecosystem is used. This development process always proceeds the same way under the same constant environmental conditions of our fermentation. This makes it possible to produce woresan's product which have an ideal complex composition of primary and secondary metabolites. This cocktail of a wide range of components constitutes an ideal living environment for healthy microbial skin flora. So if you find that interesting, then let's talk about it. The cocktail of various components has a direct influence on the skin's ecosystem, more specifically its environmental conditions like pH and moisture. Infrastructure. The EPS, the extracellular polymeric substances, determine the conditions for the life of the microorganisms in a biofilm. The EPS provide protection from chemical and mechanical influences such as temperature fluctuations, harmful substances, and UV radiation, and encourage the exchange of genes. Nutrition. During the final phase of fermentation, a variety of different pre-digested nutrients for the various microorganisms of woresan's ecosystems are generated. Protection. Immune modulatory metabolites stimulate the body's own immune defense, and they stimulate secondary metabolites which were created by the microorganisms to regulate and balance the whole system. Increased versatility as a result of secondary metabolites that facilitate the reintroduction of beneficial organisms in the skin's ecosystem. The abiotic placeholder function as a result of inactivated yet still maintained cell bodies. On the one hand, they cover uncolonized areas of the skin. On the other hand, they attract related microorganisms. Skin food for the skin. Diverse single components like vitamins, peptides and enzymes, which have been generated by the long-term fermentation in woresan products, feed the skin and stimulate healthy skin regeneration. The diversity with regard to the individual active agents of woresan is demonstrated in particular by the diversity of fields of application in cosmetics and medical products. Applications that have woresan ingredients as their active agent can indeed be found from head to toe. Among them are classic care products such as shampoos and conditioners, which use woresan because of its mild cleansing and nourishing properties, but also shampoos, serums and conditioner which use woresan as a problem solver for itchy scalp, dandruff or greasy hair. There are classic anti-aging face creams, which use woresan because of its moisturizing effect. Other face creams, cleansers or face masks use it because of its balancing or cleansing properties. Sometimes the focus is on microbiome regulating functions, such as in various feminine hygiene products or in a wide range of acne lines. However, woresan is also used as an enhancer in order to push other active agents. The possibilities appear to be endless. So what benefits do woresan active agents offer manufacturers of cosmetics or care products? An instant visible effect. Sustainability in every aspect. No longer having 10, 20, 30 various active ingredients on stock. Shorten cycle times and thus avoid the disposal of unused material. Production methods are not only environmental friendly, they are nature identical. To be precise, they are a development of nature and carried out by nature under controlled conditions in our facility. From nature, by nature, for nature. Incidentally, we also speak Spanish, Chinese, English and German. Contact us and discover more. Inspired by nature. woresan.